Hey guys, what's up? I'm posting this video because I've got a few questions, private messages about how I use the tablet, my tablet and my X32 Core and DL32 Midas Dl32 stage box in the studio because I posted something about a fried P1 headphone amp, and this tablet. This area right here was in the picture, and a few people noticed that the layout on the tablet was a custom layout, and I've got a lot of questions about it, so they want to know how I use the DL32 and how the layer works, because they saw things that they're not used to seeing if they don't know how to do custom layers. For example, reverb time, all the bus sends on this side, a couple buttons here which they didn't understand, and mute group, which normally these things aren't on the layers that come with the MixStation Pro. So let me explain how I use it and how I integrate the DL32. Sorry about the chair. The DL32 into the studio. So basically, here's a studio running Cubase Pro 9.5. Mac 2014 Mac, really fast machine, good, nice machine, social media machine. In the studio, the studio's there. There's a couple gobos set up for a vocal session right now. So here's what I do. First of all, we go to the front panel of the DL32 and the front panel of the X32 Core. On the DL32, I ordered a long cable so that I can probably put the DL32 in the other room. But right now I'm using the shorter cable that in the back that I use because we use this stage. We use this on stage with my band. We're doing in-ears with this system here. So in the studio, I have not yet bought a longer Ethercon cable to go through the floor and into the other room, which is what I will do eventually. But so for now, I have a snake that comes in from the other room, and in this particular session, this is a vocal session. I've got a mic, just one mic coming in. As far as my outputs, bus 1 and 2 are sent to a headphone amp that's in the booth. Okay. 15 and 16 in this case, these are just here just to get them off the floor. So 15 and 16 being sent to my speakers. Okay, so my control room, essentially my control room output is 15 and 16. This mic in channel 16 is a talkback mic. It's just a Sennheiser drum mic that I got laying around. I just basically use it because it's small, low profile, and because of the drum clip allows me to clip it on the shelf. So that's about all. That's about what that's about. So that's the input section. My assign section on my X32 Core for this particular scene is set up as follows. This is the control room volume, which is channel 15, 16. This is the reverb, because I use a reverb for tracking, just for monitoring it. It's not being recorded, obviously. But this is the decay on the reverb. So I can just, if I'm doing an up-tempo tune, it's going to be a little shorter. If I'm doing a ballad, it's a little longer. So that's just a quick way to get to that. As far as my buttons on my assign section, channel 1 mutes the talkback. Okay, mutes the talkback that's coming in 16. Not channel 1, button 1. Excuse me, button. That's actually button 3. Button 4, this mutes the mic, the vocal mic. Okay, so I can use that when I'm switching out mics or whatever. Just a quick way to grab a mute. And then there's an all mute here on this last button. This button's not assigned to anything right now. It is for our live setup, but not for now, for the studio setup. So so this is an all mute. Now over to the tablet. Yes, this is a custom layer. If you guys want, I can post it along with the scene, just so you can check it out. What I've done is I've eliminated the sends on faders that are usually on this side, and I've put all the sends in a row here, so I can quickly get to you know, the different aux sends. A lot of times I have a band, like right now this is set up for a vocal, a single singer, but a lot of times I have a band, so I'm able to switch between musicians really quick instead of having to choose the send on fader and then, you know, do the sub menu that shows this what send you're choosing. I can just do it real quick from here. And of course, this is the left-right mix. This is the mix of the headphones, which I use a lot, of course, in the studio for soloing mics and hearing things, you know, in headphones for me as the engineer. So that mix is here. So that's convenient because I can change my headphone mix at any time. So now, for example, during a session, the faders that I have for the vocal setup here, again, it's just a vocal session, single vocal with you know, with the track coming back from Cubase. So the way it is we got the vocal on channel 1. So there's the vocal, there's the reverb again, just being used for tracking. The reverb time can be set here, so I can, you know, instead of using this knob that I have assigned to the reverb time, as you can see, instead of using this, I can grab it right here. All right, so that's right here. And obviously, I have all the bus sends here, so the reverb send would be here. Okay. Then we move over. We've got the DAW, which I've got labeled music as well, because some vocalists come in who aren't used to computer recording, or they don't have their own system. They don't know what a DAW is, believe it or not. So it's labeled DAW for me and for those who know what a DAW is, and music for those who don't know what a DAW is. So this is the master level coming out of Cubase Pro 9.5. Then we've got the booth send. The reason why I have the booth send on the layer, on my, you know, my master layer, my left-right layer, is because when I want to solo, when I want to hear what the singer is hearing in this case, all I have to do is solo mix one, bus 1 and 2, which again is going into the booth. So I can solo that, and then I can choose bus 1 and 2, and now I can make changes to their mix, and I can hear what they are hearing. And then to switch back to my mix, which sometimes I don't want to hear what they're hearing, once I've got them comfortable, or adjust whatever they need, then I just go back to my mix, and now I could, for example, in this case, I could be listening to the mic and I could have the music off or really low. So, you know, the playback from Cubase really low or whatever. So that's, you know, it's good to have the independent control right at a touch over here instead of having to go over to the customary sends on faders buttons. And then what else do we have? And then we have my talkback, which, as you can see, the gate keeps kicking in, because just so that there's there's minimal noise as possible in my talkback, I've got it gated. So that's what you're seeing there. Then over here, obviously, I've got some layers. This is the typical one I use for vocal sessions. And then, of course, if I'm doing a drummer or a band, then I've got 1 to 16, 17 to 32 here. Then I've got all my outputs so that I can just check. These are all the bus outputs. So I can just check everybody's mix, everybody's master level of their mix, or solo anybody's mix, again, if I want to hear their mix. For example, if somebody would be on 9 and 10, once I solo that, then I'm hearing in my headphones here, I'm hearing what they're hearing. So that's another reason I have a layer with all what I call all outputs. Okay, so now what else? Oh yeah, this is pretty interesting over here. Well, before I get to that, let me explain this. This is simply a permanent fader of 15 and 16, which is my speakers. So whatever layer I'm on, I always have 15 and 16 here, and it happens to be right next to my hand that I'm controlling Cubase with on my MacBook. So it's handy to have the volume over here so that I don't have to reach all the way over here and do it here. Okay, next thing is mute group. This mute group is an all mute, just for when I'm changing mics or whatever. It's an all mute. So there's a dedicated button for that. Also, this is the coolest thing, because sometimes during a session we're going to need to see something from YouTube, or we need to reference something on the web, and we need to hear the system audio that's coming out of the Mac, which defaults always to 1 and 2. So since it defaults to 1 and 2, I made a scene The scene is called movie because, sometimes we watch movies here. I watch a movie and I want to hear the system audio that's coming out of VLC player or whatever video player I'm using. So I call it movie. Basically, what these buttons will do is these buttons will call a scene. This calls this particular scene. This calls this particular scene. There's only two there because these are the two I use the most in the studio. So instead of going over here, which is a customary way of changing scenes, okay, I'll go to my movie scene and then press. So now, as you can see, the labels have changed, and now it's that custom, computer is coming into 1 and 2. You're only seeing channel 1 here, but you get the idea, 1 and 2. And then, of course, I would normally go over here and switch back to, I don't know what it is. I think it's 25 for whatever reason. It's one of these. Okay, right here. And then load the studio setup. Now, instead, I've got that programmed here. So when I hit record setup, it changes to the scene that I use for recording. And the scene I use the most for recording. And when I hit movie, it switches to the channel 1 and 2 coming out of the system preferences on the Mac. So that's a quick way to change between multi DAW inputs and outputs, and instead of that, the system 1 and 2, system output 1 and 2. So that pretty much explains everything here. As far as my situation in the other room, we've got another tablet at the mic position. Okay, so we've got another tablet here, and this is just basically for the vocalist. Again, we're using the mic. Okay, so they have control over their mic. They have the reverb. I don't know why my phone's not focusing, but anyway, they have the the playback from Cubase, and they have my talkback. Also, that comes into a P1, which is right here. And then one wonderful thing I have here is worth mentioning, though it's got nothing to do with the Dl32 and the X32. This is an amazing mic, an Elux 251, which was from Sound Deluxe. Now it's David Bach. David Bach has the Bach 251. It's the same mic. It's an amazing mic. It was worth every penny of $5,000. Amazing mic, and I recommend it to anybody who wants a world-class vocal sound. So that's what we got here. Is my Bach Audio / Sound Deluxe 251, and this is the couple gobos I have set up here for a little bit of vocal isolation, and the rest of the studio. So, any questions, hit me up.